Better, worse, I don't know. How about, no, let's just go with no light, huh? Sometimes it's better, sometimes it isn't. Today I've called this 2 for the price of 1. Number 1, it's the last reading of the month for the guides written by Reverend Cynthia. And the second is, on the page in the Science of Mind magazine, the last daily guide was on page 64, and I glanced at page 65. They were opposite to each other. And I thought, yeah, it's a pretty good reading, actually. It's a story, and stories are always pretty good. So you get 2 for the price of 1. They were right next to each other in the Science of Mind magazine. So here, first of all, is the very last reading for this month for Reverend Cynthia Hardwick, and then we'll have a second reading by Reverend Cynthia Ramirez Linden-Meyer. So there you are. First reading is called The Impossible Made Possible. How about that? The Impossible Made Possible. And the Audre Lorde quote is, "In our world, divide and conquer must become define and empower." Divide and conquer must become define and empower. And the Ernest Holmes quote, she repeats it further down, so I'm not going to repeat it like 3 times. So here we are. Here's the reading, and then the Ernest Holmes quotes she uses to finish up her article for today. So here we go. If we can define each other as spiritual beings having a human experience, we can empower each other to be co-creators in making a world that works for everyone. It may seem impossible given the current state of things, but the impossible is made possible by our belief in it. She says, let us focus on what we want to see and who we want to be. Only good will then come of this. Only good comes from wanting good for everyone. Then these are the Ernest Holmes quotes. She says, say it once more. All the power of the universe is with you. Feel it, know it, and then act as though it were true. As the universe is run by an infinite mind, so our life is controlled by our thinking. Ignorance of this keeps us in bondage. Knowledge will free us. And her final affirmation is, I empower myself and invite everyone around me to do the same. I empower myself and I invite everyone around me to do the same. Thank you, Reverend Christie Hardwick, for 31 days of readings. Now, Reverend Cynthia Ramirez Linden-Meyer. Who is she? She is a CSL minister, just like Reverend Christie and like me. She is she's a CSL minister for the Sacred Activism Community, which is a virtual and in-person group pursuing spiritual living. And she also served as the American Public University System chaplain. So there you are. And there's a nice picture of her. She has called this a tiny spiritual message. I think it's pretty cute. My 2 dogs love their daily morning sniffing time. You know, dogs sniff, right? If you've ever had a dog and taken it for a walk, what do they want to do? Sniff. I take them for a 20-minute stroll around the neighborhood where they discover the world with their noses, or rediscover it probably. To keep things interesting, I venture in various directions. One path involves crossing an empty parking lot along a row of small shops and restaurants. It's along this route that I often find loose coins, and their copper or silver plating will be catching the sunlight. I pick them up and later drop them into a glass mason jar on my kitchen windowsill. By year's end, the jar is astonishingly full, a quiet testament to overlooked abundance. Then she says, one November morning felt different. When I spotted a lone penny on the pavement, it felt as if I'd found a treasure worth far more than 1 cent. She says, my reaction surprised me. Sometimes I'd keep walking if I saw a simple penny on the ground, but now that they're no longer being minted, each one feels like a tiny spiritual messenger about the law of circulation. Ernest Holmes taught that life is an infinite flow of ideas, creativity, love, and supply. Yep, even money. The law of circulation is the divine rhythm of giving and receiving, losing and finding, releasing and welcoming back. Though the US meant to stop producing the penny, it will not stop circulating. It will continue to appear in unexpected places. It reminded me that supply is never limited unless I fail to look. So now the penny has become a little sacrament for me to practice awareness. She says, I wonder how many generations will continue experiencing the small, surprising joy of finding pennies. I think about the coins on my windowsill, and having thought about them, I decided to gently toss a few along my walking route. I trust that someone else will feel the same exhilaration in finding them. She says, by this simple act, I practice the law of circulation. If you ever see someone placing a penny on the ground, instead of picking it up, there's a good chance it's me sending another reminder of life's endless, generous flow back into the world. And I thought that was a really cute story. And as I said, I think it's a coincidence. It was right opposite my reading. My reading was short, so I thought, hey, why not add to it? People love stories. It's true. Facts tell, stories sell. That's the old salesman's message, or saleswoman's message, salesperson's message. Facts tell, stories sell. So there you are. She's selling the law of circulation, which actually is really just all part of one law, which is the law of cause and effect. Reverend Jesse talks about this in his talk on Sunday, that all these other laws, law of circulation, law of reciprocity, etc., they're all part of cause and effect. And if you think about it, it's true. All right, my colleague, Reverend Oyster Ryan, should be around tomorrow morning at 9:15. We should have a midweek meditation tomorrow by Daniel Johnson, one of our practitioners. And you should get me back tomorrow at 5 p.m. with a new series of daily readings, which I have not pre-read yet. I'm resisting the temptation until tomorrow. So until next time, my wish for every one of you is that you keep the law of circulation in motion. You keep the law of cause and effect working, and let's all spread more joy in the world. So until next time, namaste.